Hey folks, this is Ariel Baruch out of SierraCast TV studio, and today I want to talk about dietary reference intakes. And this is an important subject for us to discuss because this is really where the starting point is. In our previous video, we talk about BMI index and body weight planner and how to kind of figure out, okay, what are the realistic goals? How can we go from one weight to another weight, and how to do it in a reasonable fashion so people don't feel starving, people don't feel deprived of food. Today I want to talk about DRI intakes, dietary reference intakes. So I want to bring you to USDA website. It's a government website where you can calculate those intakes. It's very important for people to realize what really they need, because when you look at the packages in stores, you see there's a nutritional panel and it will say, for example, here's one. So you can see here there's a nutritional panel on this bag of cranberries. It says 110 calories, but that's for hypothetical person. It's not for woman, it's not for man, it's not for adult, it's not for teenager. It's for hypothetical person, and they say, okay, well, it's based on 2000 calories for that hypothetical person. So what's really important is to figure out what's good for you, what really the intakes that you need in your diet for you to be healthy. So let's go to this dietary reference intake website and we'll calculate it. And I'll just do it very simple. I'll do it for myself. So I already plugged in male, 44 years old, the height, the weight. Purposefully, I typed in activity level sedentary, and the reason for that is because the goal is to figure out, okay, what is the worst case scenario? Because really, people who worry about their weight and people who worry about their health is really not the athletes. But majority of people worry about it because they don't feel well, maybe because they do feel they are overweight, or they have some other issues, or they just the health became not a priority. Maybe they have some other priorities like children and family, work, and they end up gaining weight, they end up feeling not so well. So really the goal is to figure out, okay, how can I increase my health span, the years of life where I feel healthy, I feel good. So returning back to this DRI website, so I already plug in the numbers, and I got body mass index BMI 26. We talk in our previous video where the specifically for adults, BMI index 25 is considered the upper edge of the healthy weight range. Again, BMI does not take into account what is the weight, is it muscles, is it fat, but it just in general. So it's really kind of guide for people who are not physically active, for them to kind of see where they stand. So let's assume, hypothetically, a person is not physically active, lives sedentary lifestyle, so body mass index 26, estimated daily caloric needs 2400, roughly 2453 to be exact, and then there's a breakdown of how many carbohydrates person need, how many grams of fiber person need, protein, fats, so all those macronutrients. Even breaks down into some unsaturated fatty acids. Interestingly, it gives total water weight. That was very interesting for me to see, is that a lot of people are not consistent with their water intake, and apparently it is there are recommendations, and in this specific case they recommend me to consume almost 4 liters of water. That's a good amount of water, 16 cups. And then there is a breakdown of vitamins, minerals, and so on. So you can see those are important numbers if people want to see really how does their nutrition stack against where they want to reach, and do they have any deficiencies. This would be the place to go to figure this out. So the next thing I want to talk here briefly is the chart that anybody can put together. So first person need to define what kind of foods the person really interested in using to help themselves achieve the goal where they eat nutritious food, but at the same time they don't overeat on those calories. As you probably remember from our previous video, is that we talk about the body weight planner, where we discuss that for person in this with this matrix, with this age, with this height, with this weight, for the person to achieve the healthy weight range, it will have to be roughly 1700 calories to get where that person wants to be. So here I put together the Excel spreadsheet, which is essentially free, like anybody can do it, and I plug in the things that I consider to be more or less healthy, that I would like to track to see how many calories per day I actually consume. So I plug in these numbers. So let's go for, and this was, by the way, done 2 years ago. It was October 2018. This is when this chart was done. But I want to give you some numbers here. So for example, I plug in the weight for the almonds, apples, and that's consumed on that specific day. Blueberries, bread, chicken breast, coffee weight by weight, essentially. So it's basically 1 cup of coffee, and then green beans, almond milk, some stuff for the breakfast like a muesli, olive oil for cooking, potatoes, brown rice, salmon grilled, chicken noodle soup, sunflowers, tea, cups of tea, and then some walnuts, yogurt, and salad. And this, for the salad, was actually a mix that was made separately on a separate day, which also had some, a big mix of different things, like for example, broccoli, cabbage, carrots, celery, cucumbers, greens, onions, peppers, tomatoes, zucchinis, and so on. So with all of these weights, I was able to calculate the calories. So the way it's done, the way I would calculate the calories, I would go to nutritional website. For example, I would go to government website, USDA.gov website. It's called Food Data Central, and I would look up specific item. For example, in this case is Gala apples, and I would look up per 100 grams. They say that it's roughly 55 calories. So I would use that to plug into my spreadsheet. So I'll go back to my spreadsheet, and in this specific case, for Gala apples, I have per 100 grams, I have 0.52 calories per gram. So which translates, if I plug in 100 grams, I get 52 calories. So it's essentially the same as here. You need to remember that different entries in this database will give you slightly different numbers, but for the most part, it's what I was looking for. So now that I have, for example, in this case, I consumed all these foods. You can see all these weights are plugged in. Actually, I diligently went through it and plugged in all these weights, and I figure out all these calories from all of these foods, and I have a total summary. Interestingly, I got 1700 calories on that specific day if I sum up all of this. So the way it really worked is that I was able to do this because I decided for myself, okay, well, what do I need to do to come up with the 1700 calories per day, and how can I figure out my deficiencies? This was the way to do it. The nutritional deficiencies will be a different topic. It will not be part of this video, but it's very important for people to realize is that really they need to kind of keep track of what they eat, how much they eat. Those portions matter. To survive, to have a nutritionally balanced intake daily, and do it consistently for weeks and for months, and even for years, you really need to kind of track what you eat and just figure out, find your way around what works for you, what doesn't work for you. So on the subject of this spreadsheet, I just want to give you an example. For example, this is an apple. This is pretty small apple, but if I put it on a balance, I can know exactly what the weight is. So in this specific case, it's 122 grams. So by using this small kitchen balance, I was able to figure out what is the weight of the item, and then I can go to USDA website and I can figure out how many calories in this specific item. USDA website has a database. You can also download that database, or you can just go to the website to get those numbers, how many calories per gram of weight of the item. So that's exactly what I did in this spreadsheet, and I was able to figure out how can I kind of come up with a diet that I'm okay with, and at the same time it would be limited to a certain number of calories. Obviously, the way I did it, the intent was to really cook for myself. So, for example, I would take lunch with me to work. I would not go out, but it's really meant to be just to give a guide for people who kind of don't realize that the portions matter. You know, what you eat matters. The nutrient dense foods like fats and oils can quickly add up. So it will be very difficult to stick with a 1700 calorie diet if person want to eat a slice of pizza. Nothing wrong with a slice of pizza, but if a person really wants to eat a lot of that kind of food, it will be almost impossible to stick to have nutrient dense diet, but at the same time significantly low in calories, like in this case 1700. Okay, so I hope you found this valuable. If you have any questions, please subscribe to this channel, comment below, let us know what other topics you would like us to discuss. We'll definitely research and post another video here. But thank you for tuning in to Sierra Cast TV, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.